Alright, hello everybody. Today I have a brand new video about synthesizers. Now, if you've been following the channel for a while or you've watched my previous videos about the Faulconer stuff and all that, we have a brand new plugin. I wouldn't say it's brand new because it's the 5th version, but we do have a somewhat new plugin that has the most famous synthesizer used in the Faulconer tracks, and that is of course the QS6. And someone told me about it and I was gonna try it out and we'll see how it sounds. I have my QS6, a real QS6 on standby, and I just bought this for $89. Actually I bought this like a week ago but never had a chance to really demo it. I'm sure the price changed. Let me go check. Oh, it's still the same. It's still $89. So I'm gonna go and compare and contrast the Synth Anthology 5 by UVI versus the QS6, and of course, last but not least, the QS6 sound fonts. Because I know, in my opinion, sound fonts aren't that great, but of course, they have been much better in quality compared to like previous years. But I want to compare and see if the UVI can replicate the QS6 in a better way than the sound fonts can. So let's get right into it. Okay, so I have my tracks all ready to go. We have the UVI Workstation. We have the QS controller for my MIDI keyboard, the actual audio from the QS6, and the sound fonts. So I just loaded this up, this random 70 MO bass. Apparently there's like a million sound fonts, or not sound fonts, but synthesizers on here. Very famous synthesizers here, JD 800. But of course we want to see QS6, others are Kurzweil, K2500. Which we all know Scott Morgan used. But on the first section here, we got the QS6, QSR, and the Quadrasynth. The Quadrasynth was like the first iteration of the QS, I think. It was released in 1990. So I'm gonna play with the QS6 first. And right from the get-go, I see there's someone told me that it was pretty much a replication of the QS6, but it is not. It only has like 10 patches. So it is definitely missing some key sounds. So you're not going to be getting like the full Faulconer experience or whatever. But I guess you do have something here. It's not going to have, unfortunately they didn't record or create presets for the QS6 only synthesizer sounds, like Dreamscape, or there's like another one, I forget, but there's a few here that are pretty recognizable, like Sparks. So let me go ahead and play this. So I'm going to go ahead and get the sound font ready. I wasn't really expecting what sound fonts or what patches they were going to replicate here. So I got a whole bunch here. Of course, Sparks is thankfully loaded on there. So let me set this up so records my keyboard. And I'll move this aside here. Okay, so here's sparks on the sound font. The keys are a little messed up here. Or the octaves, I mean. All I'm doing is letting go of the keys and the sound cuts off right away. In this case here, with software only, the UVI station beats it. So let me play both again. So UVI wins only because it actually fades out properly like the actual synthesizer. But let me go ahead and play with the actual synthesizer and we'll see how it compares to both of these. So basically, there's no difference, honestly. Sound fonts, of course, depends on who makes it. And honestly, if you need this sound specifically, and you do not have a QS6, I would go with the UVI Workstation, obviously. But in a mix or in a song, you probably won't really notice it. There's one thing I want to try out, and that is the modulation wheel. So let me play around with it on the actual hardware. So let's see if the software can do that. Now that's one thing about the QS6. There's a lot of characteristics and small details that aren't really captured by software. And that's the reason I stick with hardware. And for the actual soundtracks, like, I don't know, like general ambience music and all that stuff, you probably won't notice it. I would say in certain tracks you might. But if you want to do your own thing, I'd say the UVI Workstation would work best for you if you can't find a QS6 or don't have space for it. Let's try out the other presets here. We got AV pad. I mean, I don't think this is used in this soundtrack, but let me play with it. Maybe it is, I can't remember. Let's try the next one, Afterglow. pretty good. I would say that's accurate to the actual synths. So let me go ahead and swap it on the hardware. Yeah, it takes me out of it when the sound font just cuts off. I'm not even letting go of the key that much. I just let go of the key by a little bit and all of a sudden it's just like, no. Let me just cut the whole sound off. I don't like that at all. I don't know who made these sound fonts, but they weren't that great. But it has the idea, I guess. So, let's try the UVI. So I would say the UVI gets it pretty close. There's like some kind of like weird filtering going on that kind of muffles the sound. I don't know if I'm playing in the right range, but I see there's these different settings here. Obviously they're not trying to recreate the QS6 one by one, or they're not trying to create like a carbon copy of the QS6, because I notice a lot of these synths only have like probably like half or even a quarter of what the originals had. I'm not sure if I know any of these except maybe the Andromeda. The Andromeda actually has a lot. Has a good bit of it. Yeah, the Core definitely has more than that. The Wave Station has a good bit over there. K2500 has more than that. And as far as I know, none of these are really used in the Dragon Ball Z soundtrack. Maybe the new K Choir, which I'll probably play with in a minute. Atmosphere, yeah, I don't know any of these. But I would say it is very close. Let me play around with these settings real quick. So I'm gonna turn off cloud. Or that turns it on. Okay, let's see what that does. Not sure about that one. Let me play with feedback. Let's see what it does. Here we go. We can put a number in. Put 8. Something crazy like that. No, it doesn't work. Again, this is like my first time using this thing. And from what I can tell, you can probably mix another synth in there. Yeah, so I wonder if I could load 2 QS samples. Phase, let me play with that one. Yeah, I don't like that one. Crush, Bit Crusher. Tone. that makes it sound a bit more like the original if you turn it up a little bit. Let me play with analog drift. Don't hear a difference there. I'm gonna mix it with tone and then compare it to the real stuff. Turn that up to like 70. Pretty close, I would say. I would actually do the opposite here and turn the tone down because it was giving it like a bassy sound. Maybe it's the analog drift. I'm not sure there. You also got the invert modulation, so I guess if you want to like add another synthesizer here. And the pan button. I'll play with a high Glizz. Just play through this whole thing real quick. Let me try the hardware here. Okay, it is reverb. Obviously, that's helping there. It'd be nice if they had reverb here. Let me see if I can add it. So they do have some settings here. Okay, that's a drive. We got dual delay. Is that on? You definitely need to do some more tweaking on that, but it's okay, I would say. I'm not sure about the sound fonts, honestly, on this one. Okay, so I would say the sound font kind of has a different characteristic that almost beats the UVI. But I feel like the UVI might beat it if you do some tweaking. Obviously, hardware is king in this case, so hardware wins on this one. Mindsweep, I never heard of this patch, so let me play it because I don't think I remember playing this. Sounds familiar, but I can't really remember what the number is on the actual hardware. I could probably spend all day looking at this, trying to find the right number. The next one is UVI. Now, the UVI isn't used a lot from what I remember. I mean, there's a lot of choirs used in this soundtrack. The weird thing is the UVI isn't really in the QS6, so I don't know why that ended up in there. I believe it's a QSR, QS7, 8, the newer stuff. It's in the QS8, I know that. And I'm looking at my QS6 sound editor, and I do not see it. I see nice voice. Maybe that's probably like the old version. But let me play it on the UVI here. So let me try nice voice because this is what I think it is on the QS6. Definitely hardware on this one. UVI is probably using a different patch that's on the newer synths, and I do not have that. I'm gonna try the sound thoughts though, see if I get anything closer. I would say that the UVI wins in this case only because the QS6 does not have that exact patch. If I had to guess, I would say that the QS6 has a better, I would say it would have a better sound than the software. Percussion sBass. I don't know about this patch, honestly. Let me see. Perky. I feel like these names are not from the QS6. The more I look at it, could be wrong. Shine On. I think I know this one. Let me see if I can find it on the actual keyboard and compare it. Okay, hardware wins on this. It sounds like a different patch because on the QS6 it's called Shine On ... As you can see on my editor here, it's kind of strange. I don't know why it's spelled different. I guess they just did it in a hurry or something. But it has like a different characteristic. Like if you play one note and you play the next note next to it, it has like a different filter. Very different sounding. I'm not sure they sampled the right patch for this, but still a usable sound. It just sounds like a very basic synth, honestly. So, and we went over Sparks already. Sunrizer, this is one of my favorite sounds on the whole QS6. So let's see if it can do it justice. It's like almost a one-to-one match. Can't speak here. But mod wheel, there's like a few characteristics here that are missing. Obviously, you can't translate everything perfectly, and especially for a VST that isn't supposed to be a replacement. I would say this is very good. With the mod wheel, of course, you have like a different sound where you use it on the synth. But in here, that has like a filter, which I like too. So I would say hardware beats it by a little bit. I would still use this if I had to use it for like one note or one part. Trust no one. I don't know what the hell that is. Play it. Interesting sound. I can't remember if it's on the QS6. I feel like I heard it before, like a few of these sounds, like the other one before, what was it, the Perky and all that other stuff. It sounds familiar, but I don't know it that well. Like all the older Dragon Ball Z sounds, you know, I always go for those. Voltage pad. Let me play that. It's about the same to me, honestly. I don't really use these sounds. This is more like an 80s type of sound. I like it though. It has like a different timbre, or it has like a different harmonic in it when you play it. I kind of played it the same. I'm not the greatest keyboard player or whatever, but when I played two notes, they had like a different resonance or harmonic, while on the UVI it's about the same. So again, it's like one of those patches where it's like close, but it's also doing something different that's kind of cool, kind of like Sunrizer. And now we go to the QSR stuff. The QSR is of course used as well. I'm not gonna go over the old QS Quadrasynth 5, I think that's what it was called. I'm gonna go a few sounds in the QSR though, because they are used in Dragon Ball Z, especially Bali Hai, which is a big one. Potstick, I'm not sure about. I think Cool Vibes, and maybe like Harp Pluck. XV5080 88's the piano, which I'm not sure if that's even used. But let's go ahead and try this out. So I would say it's like about the same. Next is Cool Vibes. Would say that the QS6 beats it, mainly because it has a bit more of a clearer sound, but I still like the sound on the UVI. Definitely better than any sound font that I heard, and trust me, I played with the sound fonts for the past few years, and I know all the other patches, and they don't come close to this. QSR Fat Strat. I was using a different patch altogether, because the Fat Strat is not on the QS6. The closest thing I could find was Royal Coil, which I guess is like the Strat Closest thing I could find. Honestly, it's not a bad sound. I would say they did a good job for a basic PCM synth sound. Of course, we got the Harp Pluck, which is the more recognizable sounds in the show. This one sounds a bit more clear on the synth, and the one on the UVI is a bit more muddled. And as far as I'm concerned, there's no sound font on this, because the last sound font I heard was terrible. Kalimba. This is another somewhat recognizable sound. Yeah, again, it has that weird filter that kind of muddles it a little bit, but pretty close. I did try playing with the mod wheel on the actual synth, and it doesn't really seem to do a difference, so I'm not sure why they call it Kalimba MW. You would think the MW would stand for mod wheel and would do something, but I'm not sure. King's Court, never heard about this sound. I'm guessing it's some kind of percussion or maybe a brass. Let's see. Very 90s sounding. I was not expecting a flute. It doesn't exist on the QS6, so I can't really compare it. Koto Pluck. I wonder if this is based on the QS6 patch, which I don't know how to pronounce, but I'll play this one first. I used a patch called Koto. It's just the regular Koto from the MIDI bank, because I do not see an actual Koto Pluck, but I'd say it's pretty decent. Again, it has that weird filter on there, but there is another patch called Amakudari, which is the weird one I was talking about, which I think was used in Vegeta's theme when he was like charging up. And I think it's used in a few other songs. There's a weird patch in the background, which you can hear. It sounds like sparks or something, which the Koto Pluck does not have. But I wish they sampled the Amakudari sound. Let's see what else we have here. So we have Potstick. Let me play that. Not much to say on this one. I'd say the UVI is pretty good. Say this is a 1-to-1 match. And also one thing I noticed was, I believe I messed with the settings. When I messed with the settings earlier, it messed up pretty much everything else going forward. I'm not sure why it didn't reset my settings, but for some reason, if you do anything here, it stays with you unless you reset the VST. So I guess that's why all the other sounds sounded a bit muffled. So I'm gonna go back and play the Harp Pluck. Yeah, so that was probably the issue with the weird sound. I would say that the UVI is pretty much the closest you'll get to a actual QS6 sound font or VST, and I would definitely recommend it. It's very fun to play. You also get a whole bunch of other synths, which I'm going to go over next, mainly over the QS or K2500, the Roland stuff, and maybe some of the Emu stuff as well. I'm not going to compare it to the sound fonts because we all know at this point that the sound fonts are pretty much hit or miss, honestly. Depends on who makes it, and they're quite limited. With the Synth Anthology 5, there's like a whole bunch of set-ins and a bunch of mixing that's into all this that sound fonts don't seem to, sound font offers, I should say, don't seem to really accurately replicate. And it's quite hard to find like an accurate sound font of the QS6 or any synthesizer, but I'm sure there are some out there. But let's go ahead and go to the K's here. Or actually, let's go hit Emu. So we got Emulator 2. Obviously, you're not going to see like liquid stack or anything from what I've seen here, but we do have the Vox Choir, which I used a lot on the Arturia emulator, which is another great synth VST. But we got the EE for voices, which is the main choir sound of the Emu2. I would say it's pretty accurate. I feel like the Arturia is a little bit better, but I'm sure with enough tweaking of all this stuff, you'll probably get a better sound, or just the same sound as the Arturia, or even better than the actual synth. I did not have enough money for an Emulator 2 to demo this. I'm not sure about these other patches, but I guess I can play a few of them here. This actually sounds like a Alesis QS6 patch, which I can't remember on the top of my head, otherwise I played it. But this is pretty good so far. Now we do not have a Proteus one on here, but we do have an Ultra Proteus, but it doesn't have any of the sounds that, at least to my knowledge, were used. You also have the Emulator one, which was, I think, used in Terminator 1. Not sure about what patches they used on that, but you got a whole bunch of stuff here. I guess I'll play through Ultra Proteus. Let me see, let me play one of the pads here, and then we'll move on to the Roland stuff. And I'm surprised at the amount of synths they have covered over here. I mean, there's a whole bunch that would keep you busy for days. I mean, you got the wave station here again. I mean, look at this. You got like a whole bunch of patches. I'm sure it's not as in-depth as the actual Korg wave station VST. But a good amount. K12. K1200. Let me play Space Keys. And here's some PyCon in there, I'm sure. Let's see. K2000 has a bunch here, but I don't know many of these here. Let me try Atmosphere. K250. Never heard of this. Yeah, released in 1984. I don't think this was used in the soundtrack here. Let's see, we got Drake Ulla. Let me see. Interesting sound. So I thought there was a bit more here, but guess not. So let's move on to the Roland stuff here. So we got a whole bunch here. Playing around with this one here. It does not sound like a bell. What is this? Map Bell 1 does not sound like a bell. Let me try Roland 220 because that grabbed my eye first because I was thinking, hey, does it have the guitar from that was used later on the CDs? So let me try this here. I'm surprised it's here. So this is like the ultimate Faulconer VST if you don't have any hardware. Of course, you can supplement that with the sound fonts, but again, those are hit or miss. Let's see what else we have here. I'm gonna try the feature pad. JV1080, of course, sounds great. Honestly, never tried this in real life either, so first time as well. I think I remember using the original, or I think one of the original VSTs from Roland, which was called just the 1080, and I messed with that and I really liked it, and pretty much all the experience I had. I'm gonna play one more, which will be the XV5080. So let's play with this one here. Play one more patch. So that is the UVI Synth Anthology 5, and my review on this, or my rating, or whatever you want to call this, I would say it's about 10 out of 10. Honestly, this is a whole bunch of stuff here. You got a whole bunch of things that I didn't even go through. But I will leave you on a closing note, which will be the thing I wanted to try out, which is mixing two sounds together. I will be mixing the Afterglow and, let's see, Sparks. You can't really do this on the QS6. You have to record 2 tracks, unless someone knows a way around that. But I'll leave you with this, and I'll play some ambient stuff, and that's all for today.